grateful for all of you who are here, who joined us. Oh, look, we've got Charlotte, North Carolina here with us. Beautiful. Again, adding into your name tag where you're zooming in from is wonderful. I'm Dr. Deetra Hawkins, for those of you who might be new to our webinars that we do basically every month. And today's session is going to be tips for facilitation. And I am hoping my Zoom works nicely. So you only seeing slides, Elizabeth? Is it like just slides or is it other stuff? Okay, great. Awesome. I'm getting a few things here set up, or trying to. It's like I'm supposed to have presenter view and I'm trying to see the presenter view part. But anyway, you all will forgive me if this is not perfect. I'm not looking directly at you and I'm looking at the slides. We'll be going back and forth, back and forth. All right, so tips for effective facilitation is our goal and our focus for today's conversation. And one of the things that we try to also talk about are tips for facilitating virtually. I think as I was going through slides today, we will probably do a session that's just about like, what do you do when you're in person? Because that's a different setting, but a lot of the core tips for today will be about how to engage people virtually. So first, want to just say welcome and thank you for being here, for joining us. We are here to talk about effective facilitation. It is not everything, it's just a piece. Wanted to give you a few tips for what we can be doing. And I thought it might be important to just start off by highlighting that facilitation is this act of engaging participants in creating, discovering, and applying those insights. So for people who know me, one of the things I talk about a lot is the difference between training and facilitation. And that as a person who gets invited to come and share with folks a lot, I introduce myself primarily as a facilitator because I'm very interested in helping us change what we do, just not be more aware. So we try to bring the both and to that process. And so to that point, right, a facilitator is a person who helps people, in groups, basically to come up with those common objectives, achieve those things. And we do that often through meetings and discussions and other sort of formats. So one of the ways that I wanted to both model and also give you a tip is to be invitational. So our invitational for you today is to practice some self-care and some community self-care. All right. One of the ways that we do that is if you were here when we first started, we often like to start with a bit of music. We try to make sure that we as facilitators arrive with a sense of calm and peace. So those are just, a couple things to be thinking about. It's also important, I want you to be mindful of binary thinking. So as we go through the tips, there might be one that you're like, nope, that won't work for me. That's fine. Take what works and keep, and leave the rest. So if it works, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. It's all right. And sometimes what we find is that it might not work for right now, but it might be something that becomes effective and is useful for you in the future. We often invite people to stretch. So we will have a breakout room in a little bit. And in that moment, we want you to pay attention to who's talking and how long you're talking, and sometimes stretching is also putting a question in chat, stretching our minds, just thinking a little bit differently. We want to invite you to be present. So again, really appreciate those of you who are here on screen. Love that I see some folks, so multiple people. Hello in Cleveland over there. That's awesome. And that the last thing that I just want to invite all of us to be doing, we're going to do this right now, is to breathe. Okay. So we're going to do deep, 3 deep breaths all together, just sort of getting centered. So we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to hold it and we're going to let it out. We're going to take another deep breath in. And we're going to let it out. And we'll do a third one in. And let it out. Thank you for that. So we need to be invitational. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves to breathe. So just keep that in as a tip as well. So again, I'm Dr. Deetra Hawkins. I won't go through all of these pieces in terms of introducing myself, but I do want to say that I do think of myself as an ally for really all people on the margins. And one of the things I haven't said a lot recently, but I think is important to remind us in the sort of movements that are happening in the world. No movement has ever been successful without its allies. And that one of the things that I know that I have to do, and this is part of the facilitation piece, is that we have to help our allies know how to show up. Like sometimes we have to help them be better at what we need. So I am trained as a clinical psychologist, but I also let people know that I don't do a lot of what I was originally trained to do. And as the owner of Both and Partners, we focus on 3 core things: helping people get grounded in their purpose, helping organizations and teams look at their day-to-day and their practices and making sure that's in alignment with their why. And then stretching into the realm of possibility. So when we think about policies and procedures and data, that we're not doing that from a place of scarcity or binary, but we're actually stretching into the realms of what is possible. So true, good, and possible, you'll hear me say often. Our objectives, which is probably too much for an hour, but I think we'll meet on or touch on most of these, is to start to identify what are some key behaviors of an effective facilitator. We always want to help people recognize the difference between brave and safe, especially since safe is not always safe for everyone. I have found over the years that it's still important to remind us that there's a difference between dialogue and debate. So we'll do that. And I hope that today that you'll either discover or rediscover, right, some strategies to help us navigate when harm has happened or inappropriate comments have been made. And then we will leave you with a few tips for meaningful engagement in this virtual world. So I just wanted to open up, or at least acknowledge that, part of what we do is help people be leaders. And as a leader, that skill that's missing often is facilitation. And that you, as in your leadership ability, will be helping people move right into direction that is needed, but also helps people feel good about it. And that's one of the things that we hope that we can support you in other ways. So one of the ways we do this is we start with the basic tenets. And I thought I might invite one of my team members to speak to one of these before. Yep.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see you here. They're all connected, right? So they all kind of build on each other, but I think the second bullet point today is really resonating. Just this idea, especially with everything going on in the world, that we have to have patience with ourselves and grace for ourselves and others, because this process of cultural humility and being culturally competent is a journey, and we're all coming with different filters and experiences. And just to remember that, not to get frustrated if it seems like, sometimes we take a step forward and two steps back, but we're here, we're showing up. It's like going to the gym. There is no endpoint. So just wanted to highlight that one this afternoon.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And we're always, yeah. Some of us need to get into the gym. That would be me. So this is another one of our slides for basic tenets. And I'd like to just highlight this last point that's toward the end, which is no one here is to blame or take personal responsibility. I think it's important that we recognize in our culture that there's often this sort of like, we need to have them tell the truth. Well, there was a truth and reconciliation process. Like there has to be both. We have to bring these things together. It's not one or the other. And so blame, if we just focus on blame, then there's a tendency for scapegoating to happen and change to not really take place. And so if we want real institutional change, part of what we need to do is find ways to embrace that all of us have a role to play, right? Embrace that sometimes that automatic way in which we're thinking, that stereotyping that happens, that we can actually diversify our experiences around stereotyping instead of having it be in this sort of narrow box. So we always share our basic tenets because it's just important for you to know where we're coming from. So now we'd like to have a little bit of an idea of who all is here. We have like 50 people who have shown up for this session. I do not know how this is going to work today for our poll.
Teacher, I think I can launch the poll. So hopefully my Zoom is going to cooperate. So I'm going to launch it. And I'm going to hope that successfully means that people can see the poll. Is that true?
I actually see it today too.
Oh, great. Okay. Very short poll. We have 6 questions. This is anonymous. First question is, have you downloaded the small group guide? Second question, have you used said small group guide? Third question, have you participated in one of our race equity cohorts? Have you attended an equity dinner? Question number 5 is, I am a member of different groups and committees. And question 6, I am excited to be here today. And you only have 2 options, yes and absolutely. So that is our short poll. I don't know if anybody has submitted. I can't see if anybody has submitted.
We're at 50% so far.
Okay, so now you're going to have to read the results because I could launch it, but I can't see what's happening in the poll.
Okay, I got it.
Don't ask. I know.
This is one of the quirky pieces of like Zoom, right? Which is also why you need a team. It's one of my favorite tips as a facilitator. Don't do this by yourself. All right, we are moving up. More people are responding. Let us know if you're having any trouble. Okay, this is fun to see already. We're about 70% so far. I'll give you a few more seconds here. Yeah, submit your answer. Okay, is anybody having trouble submitting their answers? Okay, let's a few more. We'll give like yay, a few more people showing up still. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead and launch the results of our poll. We're about 75% there. So can you see the results? Everybody? Okay, so, well, first off, we have a guide on our website. So a good number of you are like, what guide? So definitely download it and look for there. A number of the things that we're going to talk about here are also included in that, as well as some actual like links to video clips, questions you can use so you can like run a session, like an hour-long session all on your own. And so for the other group, we, haven't downloaded it, but you will soon. Awesome. And we definitely need more of you to attend a dinner. So we will actually be talking about our dinner process and what the dinners are all about in our June webinar coming up. But look for that and information out for that, as well as an opportunity for participating in our cohort. So we have a new opening cohort that will be starting in May. But good to see those who have been able to participate. And it looks like a bunch of others, like people who are part of other things, but some who are part of D&I committees, some people who facilitated dinners, some community outreach. So hopefully you've added in chat what are some of your other roles and things that you do. We'll take a look at that. And then, yay, absolutely happy you're here. We are too. We are too. We're so happy that you are here. So again, we like to role model when we think about facilitation, some effective things. And one of those is to get an idea of who you have in the room and to give the group, use the virtual features that you have in this process for supporting that. So arrive with a team. I know Elizabeth is here. I know one of our other colleagues, Tony, was not feeling very well, but she is here often in spirit. And then we might have another person on who's going to be helping us with trying to share some pieces. So we like to sort of do a little centering. Should I ask for a volunteer? Or do you want to read this, Elizabeth? Do we have a volunteer who wouldn't mind reading this poem for us?
I'll read it.
Lynette, thank you.
Brave space. Together we will create brave space, because there is no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. This space will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So today I want to just highlight the words calling each other to more truth and love. That they don't have to be exclusive, right? That we need both, and recognizing this brave space piece. So I'd like to ask for 2 more volunteers. You're going to read 2 slides.
Dr. Hawkins, this is Angela. I can't see the screen. The poll is still up there.
Oh, it hasn't gone by. Okay.
Let me just, you want me to try to log off and log back in?
That, if you do, yeah, try to log off and log back in. And then it does look like I have Mario and Yvonne.
All you need to do is close the poll.
Oh,
There should be an X up at the top. So just hit that and that should go away. That should make it go away.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I have Mario and Yvonne who will help us read the slides to start with, is that good? So we're going to go back and forth. Mario, if you could take the side that says dialogue, and Yvonne, are you still here?
Yep, I'm right here.
Okay, and you'll take debate, and you're just going to go back and forth reading these.
Dialogue. Okay. Is collaborative. Two or more sides work together toward common understanding.
Debate is oppositional. Two sides oppose each other and attempt to prove each other wrong.
Dialogue. Finding common ground is the goal.
Debate, winning is the goal.
Dialogue. One listens to the other sides in order to understand, find meaning, and find agreement.
Debate, one listens to the other side in order to find flaws and to counter its arguments.
Dialogue enlarges and possibly changes a participant's point of view.
Oh, sorry, I got lost there. Debate affirms the participant's own point of view.
Dialogue reveals assumptions for reevaluation.
Debate defends assumptions as truth.
Dialogue causes introspection on one's own position.
Debate causes critique of the other position.
Dialogue opens the possibility of reaching a better solution than any of the original solutions.
Debate defends one's own positions as the best solution and excludes other solutions.
Dialogue creates an open-minded attitude, an openness to being wrong and an openness to change.
Debate creates a closed-minded attitude, a determination to be right.
Dialogue, one submits one's best thinking, knowing that other people's reflections will help improve it rather than destroy it.
In debate, one submits one's best thinking and defends it against challenge to show that it is right.
Okay, thank you to our volunteers. So typically I ask, who here is a debater? Right, yeah, and just to like pull apart to say that as a facilitator and what I've learned in doing this work, I used to only share this information with, I love that, we've got a reformed debater, with the facilitators. But I find in our, just going into community meetings, this is a wonderful place to start. Because many of us think that we are trying to have a discussion, but we're actually trying to convince people of things. We're trying to win and we want to be right. And so we go into debate mode. And it's just helpful to say that both of them work, just for different reasons and for different goals. So just to be aware of that is, again, is my other tip. Make a distinction. So some key roles that help as a facilitator. One is to actively listen. So believe it or not, even in our virtual world, right, we can notice what people are doing. Body language. Are you present? Are you leaning forward? Are you actively engaged? Are you staring down at your phone instead of at the screen in which we are trying to engage in? So when we think about active listening, sometimes we have to recognize that a lot of our listening also comes in our body language, and it's not just in what we hear, right? And it's in what we're saying, but there's a way to be present. We want to try to help people, identify feelings. So in a recent workshop, dinner event, actually, to acknowledge that, the temperature was rising. Maybe we all needed to go get a drink of water, right? That as a facilitator, part of your job, as uncomfortable as it may be at times, is to acknowledge what people might be feeling, or what ideas might be getting overlooked in the moment, which allows you to surface concerns, try to be active in bringing everyone in. And then, as I like to say, paraphrasing, actually using someone's words, which might not be your word, but is actually the word that that person is using. I was curious if I could get anyone who'd be willing to read this slide out for me. Zane.
Key roles, behaviors that help. Checks time and pace. Make room for people to digest what is being shared or discussed. Monitors and adjust the process. Ask relevant inquiry-based questions, in curiosity. Keeps an open attitude, in mirror acceptance, and stay present.
So some basics, right? Just some things that sometimes we have to remember, but also some things to be kind of looking for. Wanted to highlight this understanding. Our brains have these things called mirror neurons. So when we're trying to help people be in a certain space, part of what we're doing is activating that mirroring that happens. And so it helps when we are present to that. So if we want people to be present, we have to be present, right? If we want to see people be engaged, we as the facilitators have to be active in that process as well. So some important tips that I think are helpful. And in a moment, I'm going to go through about 5 of these, and then I'm going to ask you in a breakout room to share which is kind of resonating with you. So if you want to take a note here, you are welcome to do so. We will also be sharing slides. I think it's important that as a facilitator, especially around the work that we do in equity and talking about healing racism and trying to address issues of justice, you have to be aware of your own racial identity and comfortable sharing your story. And one of the ways that you get comfortable with doing that is establish, why are you even in this role? What has brought you to this space? What has brought you into this work? And for me, one of those things is recognizing that Black women, and especially Black girls, are often treated as if they're much older, much more mature, and as we get older as Black women, we're supposed to be like the super women, and come in and save everyone. This is my own story. And what I've learned, and part of what I try to do now, is that it's not my job to hold the tide back. It is not my job to take care of everybody else. I'm human, and actually what I'm probably need to be doing more than anything else, and I think we do as facilitators, is to be even more human, right? To be as truly authentic as we are, as possible, and that then invites other people to be truly authentic and human in their space. And some of the things I've seen as a facilitator that I love is people come in. I had someone had a major back pain, and they're like, I'm going to sit on the floor today. And I said, that is great, right? That is great. Let's make this space comfortable for whatever you need so that you can show up as you need to in this room. Another tip, if you're not familiar with Chimamanda Adichie and her TED Talk, The Danger of a Single Story, it is helpful to practice sharing your story. So I wanted to share one, that TED Talk, and 2, a very easy fill-in sentence blank that you can use. At first, I thought people needed to know what I knew. And then I learned that actually people just want to be heard and believed. And now that is what I practice. Okay, at first, I felt, that we were talking to some people that only tall people could play basketball. And then I met some people who were short who were really good. And now I know that anybody who has a passion for basketball can play basketball. The goal here is to learn how to share stories in kind of 3s instead of just in 2s. So as a facilitator, you can invite people into having commas and semicolons and to add the, and so now what, right? And where would you like to go? To acknowledge that this is where you are, this is what you're learning, and now where are we headed? And that's part of our storytelling. Another tip and piece that I think is important here is practicing cultural humility. There's a lot of tension on whether or not we should be culturally competent, culturally responsive, all of the different things. And what I like to say is just practice cultural humility. And let's not worry about what we call it. So as a facilitator, that means you're going to continue to do things like this, show up, keep learning. You know, we have to learn in the moment to address the power dynamics, really encourage people to be advocates, to learn how to advocate without being adversarial, and to develop those partnerships, and to do that in the room, often in the moment. And we also have to be prepared, right, to hold space for defensiveness, anger, and guilt. So how do you do that? Make sure you get sleep. You know, like, make sure you are rested, right? Make sure that you plan time to decompress after you have been, you know, facilitating, working with a group, taking time to, this is really hard work. It may not seem like hard work if you're watching someone do that, but it's hard work. Try to arrive with some level of peace, even if that's just taking 5 minutes, if that's like the process, if that is in the moment, build in the breathing, not just for the group, but for you, right? We did that today. And then have a co-facilitator. Please don't go alone. It's probably like the main thing. Just don't go alone. Don't go alone. Okay. I can say that multiple times. Now we're ready for a breakout. So what's familiar? What's resonating? I think Elizabeth, how many people are going to be in a room? Is that 3 or 2?
3 in a room.
Okay. So 7 minutes. Share the time. Oh,
We was just getting started.
just getting started. That's right. That is right. So what you want to do is keep
That's the
coming
point.
back to what we're doing. And this is what we like to do. Like, we make sure that, you know, we connect, you get to see other people who are like on the same journey along with you. I want to thank the people who let me hop in on their call as well. And yeah, it's awesome. So can I invite like 2 people to share, just a highlight? Give me a hand up. Just
I don't know how, I can't find my hand.
okay, Zane.
I'm just excited to have met Vanessa. Besides just being a cool person, we found out that I wondered what that stood for. And she works with helping people who are incarcerated get reintroduced into the world. And I just started working with a faith-based program where I am. I've been going to the jail, and you go to jail because of consequences, and then your chances of not going back are pretty slim unless something happens.
Right.
So that was really exciting to talk to her about what we have in common there. So that was cool.
That is very cool. Definitely. Let's hear from one other person. And
I
yes.
can't find my hand up.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Dr. Hawkins?
I hear you.
I can't find my hand up either. It was very interesting with the 2 people that I was with. Their story was similar about what they learned then and what they are now. My story was more on motherhood, what I have learned being a young mother and raising boys to what I know now. But I think the takeaway that we all learn is that we are comfortable within ourselves, and it really does not matter what people think back then or even now. So
Yeah.
um, I that's what we took from my class.
I love that. Getting comfortable with who you are is so, so, so important in all of our stories, and being able to like appreciate that even if we have differences, that we can value what those differences are. So thank you so much for that, for sure. And for you all and just like joining in and connecting on these calls. So to sort of close out this very fast hour, want to highlight for you again, just the importance of dialogue versus debate, and also discussion, and sharing with you this other image. That one of the things I think we do as facilitators is we create magic and healing by really creating opportunities for people to be in dialogue, right? To be in this space of a shared purpose, to be in this space of we instead of just you, by yourself. And that just is a quick understanding, right? If you are in this winning or convincing space, then that is debate. But when we are trying to serve and learn, we want to be in a space of dialogue. And that, when people say things that are often hurtful, that are inappropriate, that we might call a microaggression or a micro insult because they are constant, we can lean in with curiosity, right? We can use dialogue versus debate. We can actually invite people in. We can share stories that say, at first I thought that it was okay to tell jokes about, X people. And then I learned that was really offensive. And now I make sure I don't do that anymore. And I'm calling you in on that as well. So to just go back to some of the tips that I shared with you before. And so in virtual engagement, just a few things that I think are really critical in how we do this work is to, one, invite people to share a story. Stories are things that we hold on to. We as humans are like meaning-making beings. And so we connect with stories so much more than we connect with facts. And so it's just important to be aware of that. I could always lead with numbers, but it is the stories that help us. It is helpful in our virtual spaces to call on people who might have a difficult name to pronounce first. Just being cognizant of that, just for yourself, leaning in on that, asking for assistance, inviting someone to correct you, and inviting people to use their name tags, their virtual name tags, to help us best address each other. As much as possible, use the tech, use breakout rooms at least once or twice in a session, use your polling. And if you are going to be on with people for longer than like 2 hours, take a break. Like every hour, take a stretch break. It's good for you. It is good for the group. And it is good for people's brains. Okay. They just can't take the information in. So just make sure that you're paying attention to that. And then my last thing here is that, like, mix it up. Can I just tell you how sad I am that Jamboards are going away in October? It's like one of our favorite features to use when we're doing stuff, but mix it up, have fun. There are different ways you can use games. You can have people do all kinds of different things on, the virtual, in our virtual worlds. You can play music, but again, here, what we're doing is we want to help you optimize those mirror neurons, right? And being on camera, having people in different groups for a variety of times. Sometimes we do it where everybody is back in the same small group for the same hour, right? But maybe not for like the whole day, but mix it up, have fun. Just as some tips. So we like to share what we think could be some next steps for you, especially if you are interested in some continued support. We do have an equity cohort that will be starting up in May. Those will be run on Tuesdays. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. And for those who don't have our small group guide, download that. And then we have been offering a 6-hour foundations course that we know many organizations are not like hundreds and hundreds of people. And so you might have, I don't know, 5 to 40 or so folks. And this is a really great way to come to your organization and help people not only get information, but also have the experience of being heard and believed. And what we have seen when groups bring this into their organization is then they're afterwards, a good percentage of those people are saying, okay, what's next? Like they're activated because now they're ready to be part of your committees. Now they're ready to see some change. Now they're ready to like get engaged and do the next thing. And we have actually made it possible that you can sign up to bring that program to your organization just through the website. Like you can sign up, purchase the time, and we'll come and set that virtual session up for you. So this is what we want you to know as a facilitator. This is what you get to do. You are disrupting the cycle of discrimination. You are disrupting the cycle of oppression, right? Because you are in a position to share information, to ask appreciative questions, to bring in and invite that brave space instead of just a safe space, and to help people think differently, right? Like dialogue versus debate, and also to recognize and celebrate our differences instead of see them as a place of fear. So again, we have a cohort, just a few details related to that. There'll be a link, there'll be more information coming out. Do we have our little rolling thing? Are we ready to do that? Yes. Okay, so we're at the end, and if you are still here, we have a giveaway. Elizabeth, I probably should
Okay.
stop sharing my screen.
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
So we have 2 books to give away. More Than I Imagined by John Blake and Be a Revolution, Jean Luo. So let me share my screen. We're going to do the Wheel of Fortune. And
I just want to thank you all for these gifts. Thank you very much.
Mario's like, I am going to win.
Let's see who's a winner. Okay. We are spinning. Is it Kinda? Kinda, are you with us? Okay, we might have to spin again. All right, this is why you want to register and show up. Okay, one more spin. Marlisa, it was so close.
Oh, come on.
Jennifer? Okay, one more time.
Oh, we said I am here. She says I am her. Okay.
Okay, Jennifer, yay! We have 1 book for you. And is Yvonne Paludo here?
Yahoo! Awesome.
Yay!
Yahoo! Okay, Jennifer and Yvonne, please send me your contact info in chat or via email, and we will get these books out to you. Yay!
Thank you so much.
I love it. We love it. So, always here to answer questions, hear feedback. What will you be taking with you today? Is often how we like to end. So you can either put that in chat or just share. What are you going to take with you this very fast hour? Yay, energy, a sense of community, how to tell a person. I love that. Make the revolution. I love this. Is so good. So good. Yes, Wheel of Names. We will share slides for sure. Oh, yes. If anybody, like share dialogue versus debate. Like, have people go through that. It is so powerful. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, brave space, so important. For sure. Own your own voice. Know that we are more alike than different. Bring peace and calm. I love that. Yeah. Because, that's what we need. That's what we need. Aw, well, thank you, Anna. Thank you. Yes, we all need to be seen and heard and coming together. So next month, we will be focusing on health equity. We'll do a really quick overview of that. If you are getting our newsletters and you are in the recovery community, there's going to be some support available to you related to that as well. And just want to say thank you. Yes, be your authentic self. We, yes, over you and me. I love that, to bring some Mbutu into the work that we do. Yes, always be inspired. Thank you. We just try to do a little bit real quick. And we hope that you will continue to hang out with us. Yeah, okay, George, I know. Keep showing up. Oh, wonderful, Lynette. We'll celebrate with you 17 years Saturday. Beautiful. And thank you. Yes, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your hour. And be sure to let people know that we are here. The cohort again is starting back up. And also, if you would like us to bring foundations to you, we're here. We're happy to do that. Great to see everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Atala, good to see you.